Tere.
Servus.
Marhaba.
Hola. Hello.
I'm inspired that there's so many people working to accomplish the same goal of creating a connected future.
By having students lead clubs on campus directly supported by Google developers, that's the best way to reach out to students.
It's really inspirational always to hear about members of the community who echo your values and echo your beliefs.
I've been listening more than I've been speaking, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I'm just getting all these ideas.
Google, it needs to reach a wider audience and be more relatable as a company, and I think Google is one of the brands that is very good at doing that.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Carlos Degalado, the DSC lead at Northeastern Illinois University. Thank you all for joining us again. If you're not just now joining us for your first time, this is episode 2 of the Flutter Workshop Series. If you happen to miss episode 1, you can definitely catch it in some of the links that we'll be dropping here shortly. But if you're here for episode 2 and you've stuck around this long, thank you. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate the involvement. This is why we do it. We wanted to really just help people learn. But before we really go into what we're going to be doing here today, I'd like to introduce the team again. If you guys haven't met Danny and Mohammed, would you guys like to say hi?
Thank you, Carlos, for the small intro. And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining episode 2 of the Flutter series. For those who are joining their first time, welcome. I'm Mohammed Bungash, a junior in the computer science program at Northeastern Illinois University, and also a member of the Google Student Developer Club, and will continue helping Carlos and Danny moderate the series. I will be answering any of your light questions, and we'll be redirecting you to our Discord server. We're currently, many of you joined, but if you haven't, please do so. As they are mentors available to answer your bigger questions. There's also a lot to learn from this series, and we're glad for everyone who could make it today. I would like to hand it off to Danny, who has been guiding me and Carlos running this series.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, y'all. I am Danny Fiorello, or Daniel Fiorello, as you can see on screen, Community Manager for Developer Student Clubs in the US. Small plug for those who saw in our video just a minute ago. DSC applications for leading a developer student club chapter at your local university are now open. So please go ahead and use the link at the bottom of the screen to begin your application today and bring a developer student club to your local chapter, or sorry, your local college or university. We would love to expand to new schools and universities all across the globe. With that, though, I know we have a ton to cover about Flutter here today. So Mohammed and I are going to go ahead and kind of fade into the background and answer your questions. We're just a couple clicks away. So with that, Carlos, go ahead and take it away.
All right, y'all. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Mohammed. Like they said, they'll be in the background. If any of you have any questions on the Discord or in the YouTube chat, they'll be hovering in the background like guardian angels. Definitely stay involved and engaged if you can. And that actually leads me to my next point. I wanted to talk a little bit about mentors. If anybody is out there that's willing to help, if you see a question in the chat or in the Discord and you're willing to answer it, or you're knowledgeable about it, please feel free to answer it. We're trying to grow the community. We would love, for your guys' input as well as girls' input. So definitely just try to, help out when you can. If you see something that maybe you might be able to assist with, totally do that. And definitely engagement. I mean, we'd like to see some more engagement. We've seen tons of engagement last time, which was awesome. We'd like to see more. We're maybe trying to get some questions going on this time around. We're going to be actually writing out code. So hopefully we'd see some errors and maybe we might be able to ask some questions to the audience and see maybe if you might be able to help us answer it prior to moving forward, just to kind of keep you guys involved or integrated. Even if you don't want to type in the chat, at least just think about it. You know, you might be able to come up with the answer yourself without having to even type anything. So yeah, basically we just wanted to go over episode 1 here. Just a quick little rundown. Before we do that, we're going to go over the schedule. We're not going to go too deep into the schedule here. One thing I do want to mention, though, there was a slight little issue that we had in episode 1 with the scheduling. We caught it. It was a little bug. We fixed it. All we want to say is this is the final version of the schedule. So if you may have notated it down on paper or something, you know, from episode 1, definitely go with this schedule moving forward. This is going to be the one we're going to use. But yeah, we're not going to go too much into it. Again, I mean, if you want the rundown of the full series, then I would suggest go to episode 1. We kind of cover all that, episode 1 through 5, what we're going to be dealing with. So we don't want to really be going too much into that. But you know, pointing out we're on episode 2 today, March 13th. Thank you all for joining us again. It's 3 p.m. here in Chicago, so please let us know in the chat where you guys are at. That would be cool. Like if you could let us know, you know, where in the world you're at, is maybe even the time, because I mean I don't really know time zones all that well, so it definitely would be cool to see where everybody's reaching out from, because I know there was some people around the world that were tuning in. And there was definitely some people from India. I appreciate that. You know, I know it's in the middle of the night right now. I appreciate you guys, you girls and guys, all y'all, for showing up and just being a part of our series, making time out of your night, whatever time it may be over there. Thank you. Appreciate it. And to everyone else, still thank you. Appreciate for showing up and making this possible. We're going to move on to our episode 1 revisit. So yeah, we're just going to really quickly cover some of the things we went over in episode 1 in case you might have missed it, or if you're just now tuning in, you can kind of check this out before you pause it and go back to episode 1 and do what you need to do, I guess. But if you just want to see what we're going to go over, or what we went over prior to going over what we're going to go over today. As you can see here, we have fonts. That's what we went over. That was the first thing we did when we opened up our Flutter project last week. And we basically brought in our fonts from google.com, fonts.google.com, and we brought in the Ubuntu family package. We put it inside of our app so we can get ready to use it. We have yet to really use it, though. We just kind of brought the package in, got it ready. We're going to actually do a little bit of that. Same with colors. We created our colors.dart file last week. We showed 2 different ways how to bring in colors using our hex code, or just simply calling on the colors.color method. Or it would be I don't know if that would be considered a method. Yeah, but anyways, so we went over the colors, we went over the fonts, but this episode we're actually going to be writing out the code to get to use those. So we're going to get to see that today. PubSpec configuration we went over, which basically was just configuring our app, getting our packages ready, our dependencies brought into our program so we can get ready to use them, such as AutoFlutter and AutoRoute. Excuse me, and then Flutter Toast is the other one that we'll be using in episode 5. But those are the 2 things we brought in. And yeah, that was a lot of the configuration for the app. Today we're going to be configuring, but in a different way. We're actually going to be writing out the code to get ready, to implement the packages that we brought in episode 1. The routing code generator is something that we also went over episode 1. It was using the AutoRoute function or feature, and we basically just created a bunch of code. I believe the term is metaprogramming. I seen a video the other day. It was during the whole Flutter Engage event that happened on March 3rd, but I think it was metaprogramming is what it was called. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's just that's what when you write just a little bit of code and you use a code generator, and it just pushes out a whole bunch of code that we can use, and that's what the routing code generator did. This past week, we actually had one of the students reach out, and he had an issue with his routing code generator. He made it all the way up until the point where he generated the code, and he went to hit, generate the code, and it came up with an error, and it wasn't allowing him to generate the code. But we actually went through it. We solved what the issue was. It was his Flutter path wasn't pointing in the right place, so that might be an issue if that's what the one you ran into. But if otherwise, I mean, you can definitely reach out to us on Discord. Right now, currently, we're on the YouTube Live, as you know, so you can reach out on YouTube. But I mean, the Discord is going to be open even when this stream is over, as well as afterwards, after the series is done. So definitely reach out to us on Discord if you still really have an issue that you can't move forward with. But yeah, so episode 2, we're going to be covering today. It's definitely going to be covering these things that we have laid out in front of you. Is the main method. I don't know if you're familiar with the main methods and programs, but it's like your entry point into a program. And we're not going to put too much in our main method, actually, though. We're just going to keep that very short and concise. We're going to point it to our app. Actually, we're going to point it to the app class. We're not going to do too much code in there. But in our app class is going to be a little bit robust. We're going to be covering our routing. We're going to be implementing a lot of the routing functions that we brought in episode 1, but we're actually going to be coding them out using our modular router. We're also going to be covering some themes this time around. We're going to be covering our theme and our text themes. The theme is just the basic color of your app. Just keep everything all in one place. When you need to make changes, they're right there. The theme is primarily going to be dealing with your colors. The text theme obviously going to be dealing with your text and your fonts. We're going to create those methods. We're going to create the text theme method. It's going to involve, it's going to bring in our Ubuntu package, but it's also going to cover like font sizes and the boldness of the words itself. So yeah, just tune in. You're definitely going to see this if you stick around. But before we, get into these slides, we're actually just going to go right into it. This is the end of our slide deck. But before we go into the coding, I want to bring Danny back up while I get set up so you can, kind of talk to you guys for a second.
Well, howdy, y'all. It's good to see you again. So thank you, Carlos, for that quick synopsis or recap of episode 1, as well as making sure everyone is aware of the mistakes we had on the schedule previously. Please do keep in mind that moving forward, the schedule we displayed here today is going to be the one that we follow. But one of the things I want to encourage all of y'all to do here is as we go through live coding, please use the chat, use Discord, YouTube to let us know what questions you have. Let us know if we're moving too quickly or if we're kind of spending a little bit too much time expanding upon some of these theories and y'all want us to pick up the pace. We would appreciate the feedback. So just let us know how things are going. We will be checking in with you. But from now on, Carlos, show is yours. Let's jump into some live coding with Flutter.
Awesome. Thank you, Danny. Okay, so everybody, I'm sure you could see my desktop here. Beautiful city of Chicago. We're going to go right into the Android Studio, though. We're going to I have it sitting in my taskbar, but if you might have it sitting in your start menu or whatever, but I tend to keep it down here. I mentioned that in episode 1 just so I can access it pretty quickly. But when you click your Android Studio and you open it up, it should open the last project that you were working on. If you were working on something other than this, maybe you might have been testing some other things out. Yeah, it's probably gonna open that. So if you want to, maybe just go open our the one we were working on. I called this one Flutter Series app, so I'm hoping you guys named it as well, so we can be following along on the same page. But if it's not, if you don't see the same one that we started with up here, you're gonna go into your file, and you're gonna open most recent. Typically, that's where it's gonna lie, and then it should be up towards the top, something that it's recently opened. Otherwise, it'll just open directly to here. Yeah, so then as you can see here, this is just some of the stuff that we went over last time. This is the auto-generated code that we created for our routing. As you can see, it has our named path, our name routes. That's what we're going to be pointing to this time around. So we're not going to need this. This is just to show you, this is the last, I think this is where we may have left off this window, but we're just going to close this one out. And then modular router, I don't think we need that one as well. So we'll just close this one out. I had this test open. I'm going to show you guys that later. And then our pub spec, we don't really need our pub spec right now neither. So we're going to go ahead and close that one out. And all that we're left with right now is our main method. So this is what we're going to start with for this episode. Like I said, we're going to be covering our main and our app method, or our app route, or I'm sorry, our app.dart file. But for the main method, we're not gonna, this is all the stuff that it provides actually. Okay, so this is the stuff when you open up a new Flutter project. The Flutter team already provides you with a bunch of default code that you can work with. And it comes with a bunch of comments here that it's a little walkthrough actually. If you're really just now getting into Flutter, this is great for you to read before you, I would suggest you pause it now maybe and even read this stuff because I'm about to delete it. Or you can just open a new Flutter project when you have a second and just kind of glance over that as well. So yeah, so like I said, we're not going to need this though. once again, these things right here is a commented out line of code. So it doesn't operate, it doesn't work in the program itself. This is just something that you leave to yourself or to other programmers to let you know what's happening. It doesn't run like actual code though. Something like this is an actual line of code and it's gonna do something. Comments won't, so you can leave yourself comments. It's a good thing to leave yourself comments actually, to kind of let yourself know where you're at in your programs, to remind yourself, what these things do. Sometimes, the programming language isn't easy to read in human language. So, I mean, it's good to, it's typically in logic sometimes. So you might want to just leave yourself English of what this method is doing or whatnot. So that's just a brief rundown on comments. But yeah, so this is just, like I said, this is just default code, and we're not going to need any of it, to be honest with you. So, because this whole series is about building from scratch. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of this code actually. Or you can just Control A and select all, and then just get it out of there. All right. Don't be scared. It's all right. We're going to work through this together. But first thing we're going to do is actually, in our main method, is we're going to import. So just like the other, in episode 1 for the other files, we're going to start with our import. This one, we're going to import our material package again. So we're going to start with package : and it usually pops up right there first thing. So we'll just write it out this time though. give you guys some time to catch up if you guys are still getting set up here. So we're going to say Flutter / material .dart. Okay, looks good. Oh, that was a mistake. I don't know how that happened. Actually, it was a auto select. So okay, so I have to, let's see if it does it again. No, it's not going to do it again. Okay, so I just had pressed enter on the autofill solution, and it kind of threw that in there. So keep an eye on, what goes on your code. You don't want to just be adding things that weren't necessarily meant to be in there. Sometimes I press keys on accident and not really notice it, but it's just like a number hiding in the middle of a word. And yeah, it's just some of these things you might want to pay attention to. That was a good little example though. So we're going to go down here, and yeah, I can see Danny's getting everybody ready, getting everybody rallied. Yep, it's about to start now. So, okay, I'm glad. Miko, I see you. Dalton, thank you for joining us. Dalton's also, man, definitely ask some questions. Dalton, if you guys have them, he got the answers. He's the man with the answers for sure. But okay, so we're gonna get going. We're gonna actually start a little bit different than the other things we're gonna do. Typically, we're gonna start with a class file. For our main method, we're gonna start with void. I don't want to go too much into why our main method should be void, but it's typical in almost all programming languages. If you want to read up on your main method and learn that, then definitely I suggest that. But for now, we're going to just stick with what we got in the series. We're going to little m, not a big M, and then we're going to actually create our semicolon after, because it's going to, we need that there. And then we're going to just point to run app, and then end that with a semicolon as well. Okay, actually, no, I'm making a mistake here. Totally making a mistake here. So it's Control X. I'm going to go back. All right. I know you guys might have noticed that as well. You guys like, what is he doing? So anyways, main should have nothing passed into the parentheses actually. And we're going to start with our braces first. I'm sorry about that. So everything's going to lie within these brackets. So now we're going to do our run capital A app. It's the run app method, and that with a semicolon. I knew something didn't feel right. And then in here, we're actually just going to type, we're going to point it to app, our app file that is yet to be created, and we're going to do parentheses, open, close parentheses. So we have, our run app parentheses, and then within it, we have our app open, close parentheses, and that's simply going to be it right there. You see the red lines under here. It's because we haven't created our app .dart file just yet. So that's going to be the next thing that we're going to do actually is, actually we're going to go into our over here in our directory, and we're going to right click lib. We don't want to do it in the top level folder. We want to go do it in our lib folder. So we're going to right click lib, and and also I want to add too that we don't want to sit it in one of these directories. You got our routing directory. We have the routes directory for our routes. Same with colors. We don't want it inside of either one of these. We want it sitting outside of that, along right here next to our main.dart file on the same level as that. So that's why we're going to do it in the lib folder. We're going to right click lib. We're going to go to new. Same thing, Dart file, and we're just going to call this one app. Simple as that. You can call it whatever you want, but I would suggest you stick with these, names so you can, there won't be any issues moving forward. But totally feel free to name these whatever it is you think you should name them. You're the developer, supposed to be comfortable with whatever you write. But it totally helps, moving with traditional conventions, because if somebody else wants to work on it, they're going to know it's not going to be some foreign code or foreign language that they're not really familiar with. Try to stick with the same thing. But okay, so we have our app.dart file, and in here we are going to import our material as well. Enter our material package, and I'm just gonna do that quickly. All right, and then the first thing we're going to create is our class file. We're going to capital A. So your classes, similar to Java, you're going to start them with the capital letter. So we're going to do capital A. I don't know if you remember, but in the routes we did the same thing. So let's just go ahead and take a quick glance. It's always good to just glance around at your code, because sometimes you might you might not see something right here in your app.dart file, and then you go and open another thing, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, okay, yeah, you're right. Capital letters. So, while you're getting started, it's totally okay to kind of bounce around. And, that's a great thing about YouTube for sure. You can pause and, come back to it at your own time, pause, play. It's awesome. But, so like we were just pointing out the syntax conventions here, capital letter. I'm going to close that out. So yeah, we're going to do class app, and this is going to extend, well, extends is the keyword, but it's going to extend a stateless widget. Okay. And a stateless widget, remember, it doesn't hold state, obviously. You have stateful widgets and you have stateless widgets. We're going to put all our app configuration stuff and our theme stuff in a stateless widget. We don't necessarily need it to hold state. It's not going to be changing as things go with the app, with people typing in things and button presses. It's not going to be, the state isn't going to change. It's just going to remain the same. So we're going to keep it in a stateless widget. And for this stateless widget, remember from the episode 1, all the widgets, we really need a build method, at least of stateless widgets. I know even my stateful widget, I put a build method in there, believe it or not. But so yeah, so we're gonna start right there. Actually, hold on, let's just take a look. Before we even move forward, we got red lines. So whenever you got red lines, it's it's obviously something that's not right. So let me see. I'm gonna just check over here. I'm gonna close this. This is for a second. This will take place in 1 second. But so we got red lines in our main, and that's because of this. Okay, we created our app.dart file. So why isn't it working just yet? Maybe if you guys might be able to help out with that early on, why necessarily this isn't working. It's not recognizing this app class. And we can actually answer that in 1 second. So we're going to move forward, and we're just going to start writing our build method. So we're going to start with widget build, and then we're going to pass build context, capital B, build, and then see it already has the auto. You don't want to get, like I said, too used to this. I know my, first couple times around learning Flutter, I really just try to write it out. Definitely spell it out, write it out. Muscle memory is important. You definitely want to remember these things. You don't want to rely on the ease of just typing stuff or auto selecting. But it really does help once you get to know what it really means and stuff, and how to, without having to use the easy route, totally go for using it. You want to start off hard and then make it easier for yourself, because you already know at that point, so you don't want to spend too much time on it. So for this one, we'll auto select it. All right, and then we're going to pass, that was a build context data type, and we're just going to call it context. I believe that's traditionally what it's supposed to be called. And then we're going to do our open and close braces. Jeez, I always forget. By the end of the series, we're gonna get it right. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it flawlessly, and I'm gonna just say it without making any mistakes. But yeah, so we open and close them, and then within those braces, we're gonna put our return statement, because that's part of the build method. Is you need a return statement. So let's back it up here. I'm gonna show you right here too. Like if you hover, it's gonna tell you right here. It says this function has a return type of widget, but doesn't end with a return statement. It says it right there at the top. Totally lets you know what you're doing wrong here. So if you didn't know, that's how you can help. You can even auto select right here. You can suppress the missing return warning, which we don't want to do right now. We don't want to suppress. We want that warning to be there to let us know. We actually want to. We don't want to suppress it. We want to resolve it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to type return. We're going to put the return it's asking for, but for our app, we're going to return a material app. Okay, and then we're going to put those parentheses, and then we're going to end it with a semicolon, because with your after your return statement, you need a semicolon. That's the end of the statement, and you always want to add those and your semicolons and commas before you do the work. I feel like, because as you can see here, watch, if we didn't add the semicolon and we kind of moved forward, it's gonna get lost all the way down here, and it could get kind of confusing to know where things go. So I would suggest we're gonna Control Z is going to undo, Control Z, undo, Control Z, undo. And that's another definitely good shortcut to use for sure, is when you make a mistake, just undo it, Control Z. We're going to go back and we're going to add that semicolon in there so it can just maintain its place. So now when we move it down, when we go inside the parentheses and we press enter, it's going to move down together. Okay, so it's going to stay all formatted. And mind you, the commas are a big thing in Flutter. It's a really big formatting thing. You're going to see here shortly. I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna click save, and you're going to see the code just automatically format. I don't know if we went over it in episode 1, but we're definitely going to be doing it a little bit more here so you can see what we mean here. So okay, returning to our return, we have a material app. And first thing we're gonna do actually, we're gonna go back to the issue that we may have had. I think we have enough right here in our build method and our return statement here. There's no red lines here. It's letting us know that this is technically a complete little class. So now that we see this is all completed, we're going to go back to our main.dart, and we're going to try to resolve this error that we have here. It's still there, obviously. Hover over it, says the function app isn't defined. And you can see here too, it says right here, this is the one we're going to use. So we can click right there, or we can hover over it with the cursor, and then there's 3 ways now I could see we could do this. You can hover over it, and you can click right here for the solution. There's even more actions that will open up a bunch of other things for you. You could hover over it and wait for the little light bulb to pop up. And that is another way to kind of clear your issues, your errors that you're having, and it'll give you some options of what you want to do. And then there's one more way, is you just hover over it and then you click Alt Enter, and Alt Enter is going to bring up the issue at hand. So first thing is we're going to do is add that one. That's the one we need right there. It usually gives you the one that you need up top. So and that's actually the one we need. So we're gonna import our library app.dart. So I don't know if any of you may have answered that question in the chat, or if you just knew the answer in your head and you just answered it to yourself. That's cool. But that's the answer. We didn't have our import yet. We have yet to import this .dart file, this app.dart file. So they're lying within the same package. It's just they're not really connected just yet. They're not sitting in the same file technically. So we do need to kind of bring that app.dart file into this main. And like I said, this is going to be our entry point. So we're gonna Alt Enter on that, and we're gonna import the app.dart. All right, and you can see it just brings it right in there. Okay, so this actually leads me to my next error, which is in this test folder. You're going to notice here, you might have seen that prior to and was wondering, am I going to cover this or not? And I actually did say a couple of minutes ago, I'm going to get to that. I had it open just, prior to this, practicing the workshop series or whatever. I forgot to close it. But anyways, we're going to open it up. We're going to open up the folder first, and then there's a widget test dart file. So in order to just clear this, I don't like seeing red. This isn't necessarily going to affect our app creation right now, but I do want to clear this up. And this is one, we can, another way to show you, how to resolve these things. Whenever you see red, that means something needs your attention. So we're going to go in there, and we're going to go right here where that red line is at, and it's showing us this is where our error is at. And the reason it's saying that is because when we first open up our main.dart, I don't know if you remember, but in our main.dart, it provided us with the app that was called My App. That's the default app, My App, that it provides you with. But we're actually pointing to our app.dart file, and that's the one we want, is app, just strictly app. So all we really need to do is just delete it, delete the my. We keep app there. And as you can see, it's still red. Maybe I didn't do something right. No, it's actually still all good. It's just that we need to do the import again. I mean, if you would have hovered over it, you were to see that that's the first solution it's giving you, is to import that. So we're going to import the app.dart file, and boom, it turns yellow, no more red. You see, and it's sitting right in here. Actually, it's sitting right here. This one, it turned gray. That means it's not used. So if you want, you can Control X or just delete it out of there. You don't need it. It's grayed out. And as far as this widget test goes, we're not going to need this anymore. That was just simply to clear up that little error. We're going to close that out. Okay. And then as you can see, this is all good. So we actually, if you don't have any errors in your main.dart file and it looks similar to this, then I would suggest you just close it, because we don't really need that anymore. And yeah, we're right here. We're in our app.dart file now. And I do think we need to go in our colors. So we're gonna let's just close this out. We're gonna give ourselves some space so we don't have to see this right now necessarily. So another shortcut that you might want to learn and use is Alt-1. Press it again if it didn't work. Just Alt-1 should work. I don't know how it works on Mac OS. I'm sorry. I'm using Windows, but I know with Windows it's Alt-1. And then if you want to bring that back up, it's the same thing, Alt-1. So this Alt is gonna it's gonna be a lot of Flutter commands and stuff. You got Alt-Enter, Alt-1 for that, and then we also have the typical keyboard shortcuts for Control-Z, Control-C, Control-V. So yeah, so we Alt-1 to, let's get that out the way, and see, you give yourself some room to work. Same thing if you have your terminal still open like this, it's kind of taking up some of your window and you don't really necessarily need it. Just go ahead and minimize that and just, work with what you're dealing with, We may need to open that up though, just to glance at colors. So first things first, you see it actually auto formatted by itself. This isn't how we left it. It actually was like this before we left it, but it auto formatted itself. But you're going to see that here in a second with the formatting. But first thing we're going to do in our material app is we're going to do title. It's a good place to start. And we're going to use just regular single quotes. Okay. And actually, before I do the single quotes, let me add my comma. So typically, I'm going to go back. This is how I like to open them. I'll do title, colon, space, comma. Okay. Whenever you do a little attribute like that, there you go. That's how you do that. And then right before the comma, we're going to do the single quotes, and we're going to do, Flutter Series app. And you don't have to do underscores on this one. This is a string. This is an actual string. So you can just literal, this is string literal. You can literally just, that's what it is. It's going to be what you say, or what you write here. Anyways, getting too mush mouth here. But we're going to go to our next attribute. And our next one is actually going to be, it's going to be our onGenerateRoute method. All right, so we're going to type in onGenerateRoute, colon, space, comma. All right. And remember, like I said, those commas are going to help us in the future for sure. So we want to do that. This is how I do it. Whatever way you think is best for you, totally go with that. But it's how I do it. onGenerateRoute. And right here, what we want to put for our onGenerateRoute, this is going to be once our app generates, what's going to happen? Where is this pointing to, navigating to? And we want it to point to our modular router that we created. So we're going to point it to modular, capital M, no space, router. And then open parentheses, close parentheses. And as you can see, we got red, and it's basically, let me get that out of there. Yeah, it's basically saying something ain't right here. And we could we can go in there right now and import it. I'm just going to keep moving forward. We'll come back and fix these little errors that we have here in a second. Do whatever you feel. But I'm going to go move forward, and our next attribute right here is going to be a builder. Okay. We're going to have a couple builders here, but the first builder we're going to have is going to be an extended navigator. Now, extended navigator comes with Flutter initially. I don't know too much about extended navigator, but if you want to learn more about it, definitely go to flutter.dev and you can read up about it there. But for now, we're going to do extended navigator.builder. Okay, and then we're going to, okay, so as you can see here, hold on one second. I kind of keep moving forward without putting my comma there. So I'm going to go back here again, and right after builder, I'm going to put my comma there. Get right. And this thing just keeps on popping up. Put my comma there. Okay, so now let's do that. Extended navigator dot, put the build extended navigator builder, open parentheses, close parentheses. So now the comma is already sitting there. And then we're going to go inside the parentheses. We're going to enter. Okay, so then in here, we're going to start with our router. We're going to put router, and then colon, space, comma, and then inside router, we're going to point that to our modular router. With our parentheses, open, close. Go after the comma, press enter. The next thing we're going to do is our initial page. Initial route, I'm sorry. Did I miss something? No, I think it should be right. Initial TIA. Hold on. Okay, so let's go up here and we'll try to bring in these imports. See, maybe that might help. Okay, we're going to import that one from modular_router.gr.dart. Then come to here to extended navigator. We're going to import that from AutoRoute. Okay, so then let's see if we can. Yep, there he goes. Now it works. Okay, so we needed to bring in those imports from our modular router before we can really unlock our stuff. So we could have typed it out if we went by hand, but I was just wondering why it wasn't coming up in the auto select. But that was why. So like I said, you can type it out and then just come back and do the imports afterwards, or you can as you go just do it so you can have access to those autofill features. So then we're going to go to our next one, which was the initial route, and this is going to point us. It's going to say where do you want to go right when you open the app. Where's the first place you want to go? And we want our login page to be our first route that we want to point to. So we're going to do login page, but we need to type routes. We need to call on routes.login page, and as you can see there, it's right there, little L, and then capital P, login page. We're going to end that with a comma. Should have had the comma there already, but I'm sorry. I'm going to move to the next attribute, and that one is going to be a builder as well. This one's going to be, so this is our second builder, our third builder actually. We have the line 10, and then we have the extended navigator builder. So okay, we got this builder, and we're going to do open parentheses, close parentheses. All right, and then for that first one, we're going to have an underscore. We're going to comma, and the second thing we're going to pass, we're going to type extended nav. Little e, capital N, extended nav. Okay, and then after that, I don't know why this thing just keeps on popping up. It's bugging me. All right, and then after that, we want this to point to, I believe this is a lambda expression. You got your equal and an arrow. This basically means right here, like I'm gonna Alt-1 and go back to our main.dart. So right here, how we have this little method with the braces, we could have did that too. We could have, instead of having braces, sorry, instead of having the braces, we could it had just main open parentheses, close parentheses, and then the little arrow that we just did here, right there, boom, and then that would have pointed to this. Okay, so it's just a simple it's a simple way of doing that actually. But we're just gonna keep it in this form. We're gonna have that pointing to capital T. We're gonna do a theme object, open parentheses, close parentheses, and yeah, it looks like I should have had that comma because this one right here, this comma is for this parenthesis that goes with this. So once again, I keep forgetting that comma while I'm entering it. That comma is important, Danny. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So let's see. Let's see if we can get an example of why the comma is important. Well, actually, no. Let's finish this out first. Let's finish this little method out first, and then we're gonna do a little quick example of that. Okay, so yeah, we have our theme, and then let's go inside of that theme. Okay, the parentheses, and we're gonna press enter, and we're gonna have two things sitting in here. Okay, don't just hang in there with me. We're almost done. This is almost we're almost set up here for this one at least. So for our first thing that we're gonna put in our theme is going to be data. Okay, so we're gonna include create our where this is gonna point to how we're gonna get our theme data basically, and we haven't created this yet, but this is what we're gonna type. So just follow along here. We're gonna do an underscore, okay, little b, okay. So we're gonna type build, capital A, app, capital T, theme, okay, and then open parentheses, close parentheses, and once again the comma. Forgot the comma. Should have had it there initially, but this time around we're gonna do it. This time I promise you we're gonna do it. As you can see, it's red. Because we haven't created the method yet, but that's okay. Don't try to clear this red up because it's not going to work. We haven't created it yet. Just like the other ones may have worked for you. This one, we're just going to move on to our next line after the comma, which is going to be our child. We're going to put one child in here, colon, and then now, oh, I need that comma. Let me not forget, space, comma. Okay, now we're good. Let's go back and we'll fill in the space. And for a child, we're just going to put our extended nav that we had up in our parentheses. So extended and then nav. Okay. All right. Now that all looks good. To be honest with you, except for that red. If you have that red still there, you're doing something right. Just know that. But okay, so I think okay, what we said we were gonna do is go over a little lesson about commas. So okay, so let's just say we didn't have this comma right here. And we didn't have this comma. Okay, we'll just delete these commas. And then, oh, actually this one we need a comma because you can see child, it gave us an error. It's saying that it's like one and the same thing right here. It's not differentiating these two lines. So we're gonna put that one comma there, okay? Clear that up. But let's just mess with this a little bit. Let's put this all the way over here, okay? Like clearly that doesn't look right, okay? We're gonna press Control S and we're gonna save, okay? Now, since we didn't have that other comma after our child, it just put it right up against it. It didn't recognize the comma before the parenthesis right here. Okay. How it's supposed to be now, if we were to have that comma after our attribute here prior to the parenthesis, now let's press Control S and save it. Boom. You see that auto format, Flutter's auto format is amazing, but you have to do your due diligence and include those commas where they need to go though. That's why I was saying it's really important. So when you Control save, it's going to do all that automatically. It's going to set everything up how it's supposed to be set up, so you don't really have to spend too much time with tabbing and all of that stuff. All you need to do is worry about that comma placement. Some other things as well, obviously, but they make it really easy for you. The Flutter developers make it really easy for you to do that. So from here, that was a quick little rundown lesson. We're all set here for our material app. It's actually all good. We're not going to add any more to this, but we are going to try to clear this up, which is telling us that we need to create a theme now. Okay, so let's stop here. If anybody has any questions, let's go ahead and add them into the chat right now. Maybe we can kind of like address some things. If we're moving too fast, definitely, say slow down. Don't feel slighted to say, or bad to say slow down, or just interact with us. Any sort of engagement helps. Even if you don't have a question, I mean that's fine. You can totally just answer, give a thumbs up, anything. Any sort of engagement helps. It just lets us know that you're in tune, and we're all working together here. But if there's no chats or no questions in the chat, then we can definitely move forward. We're going to move forward with creating our method, our build app theme method, as well as a text theme method, remember. So first thing we're gonna do, do I wanna just, okay, we'll just show, I mean, we might as well utilize the features that we have, the shortcuts we have. Yeah, we don't really have to, I mean, it's not gonna make a difference to write out the method, but check it out. We're gonna just click create class. So we're gonna go over our error and we're gonna clear this one up real quick, because then for the next method, the method after this, we can show you, handwrite it. But so we're gonna hover over it. We're gonna, oh, no, see, that's actually a problem. So we don't want to do that. I'm sorry if you did that and you clicked create class. Just click out, out of here, click X and close that out of there, and then just come back here. But definitely hover over it and get the right solution that we need, which is not create a class. So we're going to check more actions because we want to create a method, not a class. So, okay, that's the second option, is create method, build app theme. And you're probably wondering why it has an underscore in the beginning of it. That's just to make it a private method. It's called encapsulation in object-oriented programming. In Java, you write private right before it, but in Flutter, you just need to put an underscore in front of the variable. And that goes with method, that goes for variables as well too. So if you want private variables, and private variables are important. So if you create an app that has user information, you don't want another user or anyone else altering that information. So the information that's stored is stored in a private variable. So if you need to update that information, you need to go through the right channels. So that's when you create methods to update that information. So a user can't physically access the variables. They have to go through a method that does the changing for them. So that's what private, encapsulation really is in a nutshell is about. So yeah, it created this down here. That red box usually comes when you select like an autofill feature. It'll go away when you press enter. We do want to add something in here. So we're going to add, because our app theme, we want the data type for it, or we want it to pass back, return theme data. So we're going to type in here theme, capital T, and then data, capital D. So theme data, and then space between them. And then we're going to press enter to get that little red box out of there, okay? So that actually did one thing wrong too. It caused a problem up here, as you can see. So when we had the auto select, our autofill down here, it changed it automatically up here and it included theme data. We don't want that actually. We just want it to point to the name of the method, okay? So we're gonna get rid of that theme data. We're gonna delete, okay? Yep, all's well. No more red lines because it recognizes the method is created down here now. Now it knows that there's, what's going on now. The system knows. Okay, so we have our app theme, and it has our open close braces. So then it has our open close braces, and then we're gonna go down here after. Actually, we're gonna come back up to our app theme. We're gonna leave that as is, okay? We're gonna come back to it because it's a little bit more detailed than our text theme. So we're gonna start with our text theme first. Give you guys a quick little introduction to it. I'm sure you guys are doing great following along. If you've made it this far, you're doing something right. So we're just gonna start with our text theme first. So that's the way I did it, and I feel like it's a good way to teach, starting it out. So let me make sure everything's good. Okay, so yeah, so we want to start, instead of a theme data like we did up here, we want to start with a text theme data type. Text theme, or it's going to be our return type, actually, I'm sorry. Text theme, and then the same thing as our build app theme, we're going to do build app text theme. So we're going to start with an underscore, and then we're going to do little b, build app text theme, okay? Open parentheses, close parentheses, space, braces. Yeah, not brackets. All right, so then we're gonna go into our braces. As you can see, I just did that. Let me back it up just in case I went too fast and you were hung up on the joke. But now we're gonna go back into our braces and we're gonna press enter and we're gonna go into our method, okay? Now, first thing we wanna do here is we wanna pass our text theme method as a parameter. We're not gonna do that up here, but we are gonna do that in our text theme. Excuse me. So right here, we're gonna do text theme, okay? And then we're gonna pass, we're gonna call it our variable base, okay? Text theme object called base, all right? And then we're gonna go into our first line here. And the first thing we're gonna do is we want to return our base, right? Return base, okay? But we don't just want to return base, we want to return base dot copy with. So it's COPY, capital W, copy with, okay? And then we'll just press enter to autofill because this is going to give us parentheses. That's all it's going to do. And after copy with parentheses, we want to do dot, okay? And then we want to do apply, okay? And then one more set of parentheses. This may look a little much, but don't worry, it's overwrite. No, so you semicolon, boom. Okay, so this line is our return line in simple form, obviously, but we're gonna go first into our apply. Now, what we want to add here is we're gonna press enter, and we want to add our font weight or our font family that we brought in episode 1. So we're gonna do font family colon space comma, boom. Remember, keep that habit going. I'm telling you, it's gonna help you out in the long run. And then we're going to do our single quotes. Oh, those are double quotes. We're going to do single quotes. And our font family, we're going to do Ubuntu because that's the one we use. That's the one we decided to use. And I heard some pretty cool things about Ubuntu, by the way, for through the whole Flutter Engage event. I seen that Ubuntu is actually backing Flutter for its like go-to app, I believe, which is really cool. So shout out to Google, shout out to Ubuntu, Linux for doing that, and Ubuntu is the flavor of Linux, in case you were wondering what that was, in case I'm speaking a foreign language. But yeah, so that's fine right there. The font family, we want our comma right after, and then we want to go back up here into our copy with in our parentheses, and we want to enter in there. So this is where we're going to do our font stuff at. Now, this copy with is basically just returning us, like we're doing base.copy with, so we're already provided with a bunch of things with Flutter, and now we're just basically just altering and editing them. So with the copy with, it's basically just saying, give me what you got, and then make these slight changes, okay? So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into our base.copy with, and then we are going to start with headline. We're gonna start with headline 6. That's the topmost one we have in Flutter, headline 6. Okay, headline 6 colon and then space comma. Okay, and then let's just put a couple other ones here for right now. We're gonna come back to this, go to our next line, and we'll do headline 5. So for this series, for this workshop series, we're just gonna run with these 3. These 2 that I'm showing with colon and space comma. We're gonna do these 2, headline 6, headline 5, as well as body text. Body text 1. So body text 1, little b, capital T, body text 1, colon, space, comma. Okay, so now we have these right here set up. As you can see, there's other ones. You can do a caption. You can have 2 types of body text 1 and body text 2. You can have different types of headliner or headlines. And basically these are just to differentiate. So it's like if you want a specific size for your main page, but you don't want that same headline size to be for the rest of your app, you would basically have your headline 6 strictly for that one, right? And then headline 5 would be a different size, but in whatever format you want it to be. So that you would just need to call on headline 6 when you want that size, headline 5 when you want that size. And that's basically what we're doing here. So we're just going to start with the 2 headlines and a body text. Pretty simple stuff. So let's just go into it right here. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to go up into our headline 6 actually, and we're going to do, I think it's base.copy. Yeah, we're going to do base.headline 6. So we're going to do, right before the comma, we're going to do base.headline, and since this is headline 6 we're on, we're gonna don't press enter immediately because it puts you on headline 5. Start to headline 6. So we're gonna do base.headline 6 dot, same thing, copy with, little c, capital W, copy with, and parentheses. We're gonna do base.copy with, and then we're gonna go into our copy with right here, our parentheses, press enter. And then in here is where we're going to be adjusting our fonts. So let's start with our font size. We'll do font, little f, font, capital S, size, colon, space, comma, okay? And then let's do font weight. We're gonna come back again, but we're gonna press enter for right now, and we'll just do our font weight as well. So our font size is gonna be, or let's just press enter, font weight, and it gives us our semicolon, but space, it doesn't give us the comma. So we want that though. So we got font size, font weight, and let's do color for our headline 6 for an example. We're gonna do color. This is gonna change the color of your font. Space comma. Okay, so the font size is going to be adjusting your size of your font, like we've all come to know. Size 14, size 16, the standard sizes. Font weight is going to be the boldness of your text. You don't have to set font weights. You don't have to set anything, to be honest with you. But if you want to change these things in your app, font size you might use more than font weight. But if you need to change the boldness, that's what font weight would be. Color is going to change your color of the text itself in this headline, just in this headline. These things are just controlling what's happening in headline 6. So if at headline 5, headline 1, on body text 1, we're going to be doing, similar things, but we're going to, it's going to be more custom. So we're going to start up at font size. We're going to go behind the or in front of the comma, and we're going to, this is a double. So a data type, double is a data type. It's not like an integer, which is a whole number. A double is a decimal point. So it's going to have a decimal point, so we got to remember it's a decimal. So we're going to do, I think we set 14 or 12 in our, we have the walkthrough in case you guys are getting mixed up as well. You could refer to the walkthrough in our Google Docs. It'll have all the code that you need in case you need to have it in front of you to see where your error might be. But if a couple of these might not be exactly the same, I'm sorry, but it might be just slightly off. So I think we did 14 though. We're going to do 14.0. If it's not 14, it's 12 most likely. But so we're going to do 14.0 for the font size, and then for the font weight, we're going to come in here and we're going to do capital F, okay, ONT, font, capital W, and we're going to do font weight again, but with a capital F this time, okay. And you can see it gave us some options here. And this is how we're going to be adjusting our font weights in this way. You got to do font weight dot W, and then depending on the number that you give after the W, that's going to be the weight of it. And so it gives you this package already ready to use. We're going to do font weight dot W. I believe 500 is average. Okay, so 500 is typical weight, I believe. Yeah, and I think under you get thinner, and over 500 you get thicker. So we're gonna do just font weight 500, just for example purposes. Font weight dot W500, okay. And then we're gonna come down here down to color, and yeah, as long as you don't have any red lines or anything, you're all good. And move to color. And for our color, I think we're going to use Blue Dark. It's a nice dark color for contrast purposes. So we're gonna do. Remember in our colors, I don't know if you're tuning in now, first time around, just kind of viewing, seeing what you got to prepare for, or if you've been in, you were here since episode 1. But yeah, we're going to refer to the colors.dart file that we have here. And yeah, so we're going to go to our app. 1 second, I'm sorry, I just lost track here. I'm going to close this main. We don't need that. We're going to use our app blue primary. Okay. All right. Oh, and it doesn't look like it's showing anything. It's showing an error actually. So we're gonna go hover over it, and then we're gonna press Alt Enter, and then we're gonna import that colors.dart library, because that's what our issue was. Remember with the main and the app, it wasn't recognizing our app.dart file in the main method. We needed to import it. The same thing goes here. You got your app.dart file, but it's not recognizing your colors1.dart file that's sitting over here. So we need to import that so that it can utilize all the colors that are in there. Yeah, so we're gonna import that right here. Just click that. And as you can see up here, we'll see right here, it went away, red lines went away, and up here it brought in this. And there's 2 ways you can really import, as you can see here. So this is one way you import, and you use the whole name of the package, see, as you can see, like our modular router.gr.dart is sitting right here in our routing directory. Okay, it's this file right here. This is what we're importing here. So as you can see here, it has the file name, and then it has the routing folder because it's sitting in the routing folder, and then it has, you know, the name of the app, the whole entire package that it's sitting in, Flutter Series app. Okay, so you can call the package import in that way, full name, or you can import it in this way, and it just simply just colors/colors.dart or colors1.dart, and it just refers to this directory right here without having to type in the package series app, you know. I don't know for sure if it's going to cause like a problem, like why exactly they decided to have like a short call like that. I don't know. I try to use the full name if I could. This is just the auto select that we use, so either one works. I haven't ran into any issues using simply that. So just bringing it to light, you know, I'm just kind of talking with you guys here, my thought process on it. But yeah, so as we continue, we have everything set up here for our headline 6. So let's just go into headline 5 now, and we're going to do the same thing. So this is actually a nice little exercise. You know, it gets you familiar. I mean, I know it's repetitive, but it does get you familiar what you need to add in here, because I'm telling you, practice makes perfect on this stuff. You know, in the middle of the night, or you're not doing anything, you know, you're watching TV or something, instead pop on this and just write some of this stuff, and just the more you do it, the more it's going to come to you. So if you're right now you're getting used to it and it's still a little vague to you, I promise you, the more you do it, the more it's going to make sense to you. Like, that's how I learned this stuff. You know, I learned it just by doing it. And then, you know, really caring about learning, you know, you got to actually care about wanting to do it. But, okay, let's get back on track here. We're going to start with our headline 5, and we're going to do our base dot headline 5. Okay. Come down here, select headline 5. And then we're going to do base dot headline 5, same as above. We're going to do dot copy with open parentheses, close parentheses. Let's go inside of that, and then we're gonna press enter. And then, you know what, I mean, we can sit here and we can, you know, do the font size, font weight, color thing, but like, I mean, another point about this workshop series is to show you these shortcuts too. As you go, you know, definitely I'm gonna keep reiterating that you should, this first time around, maybe write it out by hand. I know if you want to keep up, currently, if you want to keep up with me and just without having to pause, you know, do the auto select and the quick routes that we're going to do. But when you have a second and you're going back and you're trying to, you know, review your stuff, do it by hand, man, or woman. I'm sorry, I keep saying man. I have a really bad habit saying man. I don't know if it's just me or it's just around here is what we say, but I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend anybody out there, but everyone, yeah, definitely utilize these shortcuts. It's going to make everything a whole lot easier, but hand write them out. And, you know, with me, like, I'll write it out, I'll type it out by hand, and then I'll delete all the code, you know, and then just write it out again, and then delete all the code, and then just keep writing it, because it's like, that's how you're going to really know, you know, what you're writing, or what needs to go where. But for now, for brevity, and, you know, for to show you, you know, the different ways you can do this as you're, you know, coming back and practicing this workshop series, we're just going to do some copy and paste stuff. So we already know we want our font size, our font weight. We don't really want to apply color to other stuff, because these are for example. So we're just going to do 2. We're going to take these 2, font size, font weight, highlight them. We're going to Control C, okay, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to Control V, okay, and there's a space right there. Let's clear that empty line out, tighten it up a little bit, okay. And then for these guys, let's just comment them out. We're going to comment these out. We're going to Control / just make sure you're on the line, and then we're going to Control / comment it out, and it's going to move to the next line. Same thing, Control /. Now we want to comment both of these out, okay? And basically, we just want to get them out the way. We don't want to really have them getting in the way of our development initially. But once we get to the point of actually seeing things on an emulator, that's when we're going to come back here and we're going to, you know, uncomment these, excuse me, and start really messing around with the sizes and stuff and the weights. But for now, we don't really want to affect anything, so we're just going to comment them out. And that's a good thing to do, is comment things out that you don't want affecting your app at the time, but you don't want to delete them. You know, you want to come back you don't want them doing anything. So same thing, we're gonna go in our body text and we're gonna type base.body text 1 and auto select right there. And then we're gonna do point or dot copy with same thing, open parentheses, close parentheses. I'm gonna try to type it out a little bit more and make sure everybody's keeping up. All right, and then we're gonna enter in the parentheses, and for here, I'm gonna type it out. Like I said, I wanna, just in case any people need to catch up, we don't wanna, I could easily copy, do what we did, we can come up here, select 2, copy those, and then paste them in here and comment them out again. But yeah, just to let y'all know what's going on here. Font size, we're gonna colon and then space comma, remember? And under here, we're gonna font weight, little f. Oh, font weight, I don't think that's what we need. I think they got a font weight, but we're gonna font weight, colon, space, comma. Okay, and then inside there, we're gonna do our double. We could put 12 if we want there. We'll just put 12. And then font weight, we're gonna do the same thing. Remember, capital F, we gotta call on the font weight package. Dot W, and then we'll just stick with the 500. Stick with the 500 for right now. And then same thing, come up here and let's comment it out. Comment that out, comment that out. Okay. So you see they're grayed out, they're there, but you're just not really ready to use just yet. We don't want them, altering the app yet. Let's Control S, Control Save, and you see it changed everything a little bit. So I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna Control Z, go back. Now you see how it's sitting right here. This is how it was prior, and then Control S is to save. This is how Flutter wants you to lay it out. So we're gonna go back one more time. This is how it was. Control save or Control Z to undo, and then Control S. That's how Flutter wants you to format it. So as long as you have your commas in the right place, it's gonna lay it out just right for you. Yeah, and this is actually really good. This is our text theme for our app. We got everything set up. We're done here. I mean, if later on, if you want to come back in here and you want to alter your headlines, you got everything you need right here. Just remember, if you want to add stuff, you go after the parenthesis. This right here, headline 6, the parenthesis ends for that right here. So if you want to add something, you just go after it. Okay. So you want to add something after headline 5. I mean, you probably could just add it to the end of here. It's not in order particularly. So actually though, this doesn't look right. Something doesn't look right here. Now I notice that this should be in line with this. Okay. Same thing with here. This should be in line with this, just like this one is in line with this. Now the reason that happened is because of the comma issue. Okay, so this one right here, let's start right here. We're gonna go back, press delete. You see there's a comma right before this parenthesis after this color thing. So we're gonna click Control Save and then bring it back down. So there was that comma there that was creating that format, the auto format to recognize that. Right here, we have the comma, but it's commented out. It's actually commented out right here. So that's what it's not recognizing that. Remember we said that the comment is giving you everything that, or a comment is taking out any functionality of that line of code. So in order to curb this, I say, let's do this. Let's keep it with the format. And we're gonna delete that comma from the end, and then let's just delete that one. And then right here, we're gonna just enter right before the parenthesis. Okay, so you're gonna see how that's gonna make things different right before the parenthesis. And then now Control S to save. And it did not change anything, I don't believe. Oh, it didn't recognize this as a command or anything like that. So, we're just gonna take those out of the way then. And you know what? Just bring it back. That's one way to do it. Just bring it back. You can manually adjust the format. You don't have to rely on the auto format, I guess, right? I completely didn't even think about that. So yeah, if it doesn't work with the auto format, I mean, it wouldn't even been a problem if it would have stayed the way it was, but for, to make everything look similar, and symmetrical, this is what it's supposed to look like. Once we have that comma, let's put the commas back too, since we got everything taken care of. So now when we comment them out, they're going to be there. The commas that we need are going to be there to format it as well. So yeah, this is all good. This is how it should look right now. If it doesn't, pause it and see exactly where your issue might lie. But for now, we are going to move forward and we're going to go into our app theme. And now you might note here that this is gray and this is yellow. It's because this is being used up here. Right here, you can see it. When you click it, it's highlighted up here. Android Studio does a good job of letting you know when you click something where it's being used. So we click it, it's getting used right here. So that's why it's yellow. It's ready to go. This one's gray. Remember, we went over the grayed out stuff. Whenever something's grayed out, it's not being used. This is just simply grayed out because it's commented out, as you can see. This is grayed out because it's not being used yet. So let's use it. We're going to actually use it in our app theme. We're going to be calling on that. So let's go into our app theme. And for this one, we're not going to be entering anything into our signature. We're just going to keep it as is. Okay, so but we are going to go into our braces. Getting there. I almost said brackets. We're going to go into our braces and press enter. And the first thing we want to do is slightly different than our text theme. Okay, so what we want to do here is we want to create our base like we did before, but we want to create it in a final variable. Okay, so we're going to write final. Okay, keyword final. That's a keyword right there, and you see it turns orange. So we're going to do final, and then we're going to do theme data, capital DATA, theme data, and we're going to it's going to be this is a data type. This is the keyword. And then this is the variable right after it. We're going to call the variable name base. Okay, so we're going to do that base equals, and we're going to call on, like I said, we have those pre-existing things that Flutter provides us that, you know, we basically just need to alter. So we don't have to create a whole theme. We kind of can import or bring in a pre-existing template and just alter that a little bit. So we want to bring in the light template. So let's do final theme data base equals, and then capital T, theme, capital D, and do theme data again. And then this time we're going to do theme data dot light. Okay. And then open parenthesis, close parenthesis, and then close it off, that statement right there. Boom. We're done. Not done completely, but we're done with that line. And as you can see here, base is gray. It's saying, hey, you're not using me. So we need to go on to our next line. And we're going to use base. And similar to what we did down here, we're going to do a return base dot copy with. Okay, so we're going to do, right now, we're going to do return base dot copy with, open parenthesis, close parentheses. And this one, we don't want to apply any text theme. This isn't going to do with our text theme. That is only down here is where we apply that. Up here, we don't need that. So we're just going to close that statement there. Excuse me. And we're going to go in our copy with parentheses and bring it on down. Okay, so now it's going to be a little bit different than what we did in a text theme. It's not the same layout. Like I said, that's why we started here, because as you can see, it's quite similar. You know, we're going to, you know, it's pretty basic. We're going to move, add anything that we might want and use the same format for those. But for our theme, it's going to be particular. You know, each one is going to be its own thing. So we're going to start, though. We're going to start with app color. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to start with, is it primary color, app color? Yeah, primary color. It's primary color. We're going to start with our primary color first. And then we're going to do colon, space, comma. And then before we go into any of these, we're going to just lay them out. The ones that we're going to use for now, so that, you know, we're going to just go back up and fill them in as we go. But for now, we're going to start with just these first 8. Okay, so we're going to start with 8 of them. We're going to start with, first one is going to be primary color, and I lay the colors up towards the top. So we got primary color next, and then we're going to do accent color. Okay, colon, space, comma. Okay, then the next one is scaffold background color. Looks like, oh, thank God we didn't lose a stream. But all right, it's this window that keeps trying to. Danny. Oh, all right. Are we all good?
Yeah, I think it was just having a momentary delay there for a second, but we still have you from our end, so continue.
All right, thank you, thank you. Okay, so yeah, and I think what was causing it, I ran into it a little bit before. Okay, so when you hover over something, as you can see, it gives you information, and I think that it just kept pulling up that information, and it was slowing down the system a little bit. So let's just try not to have our stuff hovering over. I mean, I'll try not to. I mean, I keep trying, it keeps doing it though. We'll see. But okay, so as we continue, we're gonna do our primary color, and we're going to move to accent color. And then the next one we're going to want to specify is our scaffold, our background, our scaffold, a little s, scaffold background color, background color, colon, space, comma. Okay. Next one. Okay, that's enough for. See, it's doing it again. It's bringing it up. Okay, so next we want to go with our button theme. Okay, that's going to be their next one. So remember, we said we got 8 here. So this is number 4. We got button theme. Oops. Button theme, colon, space, comma, enter. And then we want the next one, we want to be a text theme. Okay. Comma or colon, space, comma. Okay. Next one after that. There it goes again. Keeps doing it. The next one after that, we want a primary text theme. Okay. Colon space comma, and after that we want the accent text theme. Okay. Colon space comma, and then after that one we want our okay, we got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, and then a number 8 is our icon, so we want primary icon theme. Okay, colon space comma. There we go. So man, this thing is slowing everything down. Okay, so yeah, we have our primary color, accent color, scaffold background color, button theme, text theme, primary text theme, accent text theme, and primary icon theme. And some of these are a little bit self-explanatory. I'm sure you understand what primary color and accent color is in the app. Scaffold is basically what we're building on in our widgets. So that's just going to be the background color. And remember how I said sometimes we use different backgrounds. Well, okay, I'm sorry. I remember now for this scaffold background color, we're actually going to be using a darker gray. But you can use that off-white that we have in our colors.dart file. You can either use white or at background light. I think that's what we're going to use actually, at background light. So let's just use that. We're going to put that one in there. Scaffold background color. Let's go in there. We'll do that first. Let's just do app background light. As you can see here, we imported the colors file already, so it's ready to go. We can select either light or dark. We'll do the light at background light. Okay, and then let's come back up here to primary color. We'll start in the beginning. Sorry to jump around right here. I figured since we were talking about it, we could just do that. But primary color we'll go into, and that's going to be our app blue primary. Okay, so app blue, and then there it goes, primary. Okay, good to go. Accent color is we're going to use app yellow primary. Okay. We already have our scaffold background color. Button theme gets expanded a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna move just past button theme. We're gonna come back to that. Okay, we're gonna go down to text theme. Okay, text theme. What we're gonna want to do here is we're gonna call base dot. Oh, I am sorry. Let me take that back. Delete those. We're gonna go back. All right, and for here for our text theme, and as well as our primary text theme, accent text theme, we want to call on our build app text theme method down here. That's what we want actually. So not button theme, we want to skip that text theme right before the comma. We're going to do our underscore build app text theme. Okay. Open parenthesis, close parentheses. Okay. And inside that, the text theme that we're going to pass in, as you can see, it comes with the parameter here. This is what we're going to pass in. We're going to type in base dot and then the name of the attribute. So text theme, base dot text, capital T, little t first, capital theme, text theme. I mean, I could just press enter, that's fine. Okay, see, it turns purple, it's letting you know it's all good. If it turns red, we got a problem. So then down here, the same thing, we're gonna do the exact same thing as above. We're gonna do an underscore, we're gonna call on our build app text theme method, and we're gonna pass in base dot, remember the name, same thing, primary text theme, base dot primary text theme. Okay, good to go. One more time, let's do that under here, right before the comma, underscore. We're gonna call on our build app text theme. Okay, and we're gonna pass in base dot, same thing. Recognize the name here, and AXCCE accent text theme. Boom, we got it. Okay, so those look good. Those three look good. That's, like I said, now you can see too, it's yellow. It might have turned yellow right after we did this if you didn't notice, but as you can see, it's yellow now. We're calling on it and you click it and it's letting you know where we're using this method at. It's highlighting them. So we're all good there. We got those three set up. Let's go down to the last one, primary icon theme, right before the comma. And then for this one, we're just gonna go straight into the base dot, okay? And we're gonna base dot copy with actually. So we're gonna do base dot copy, capital W, copy with, and open parenthesis, close parentheses, and then we're gonna go in. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's back it up. Actually, you could just keep that there. You keep that there if you want. But we forgot to add one thing in here. So it's base dot icon theme. We want icon theme in there. So we want base dot icon theme dot copy with. Okay. And then inside here, see, it all cleared up now. We're all good. I forgot that little part. Sorry about that. And we're gonna go in here in our parentheses, our copy with parentheses for our icon theme. Press enter. And for down here, I think we want to specify our color, if I'm not correct. Yeah, we want to do our color. Okay. Yep. And then we're gonna do colon, we're gonna comma, and then we want to do our app blue, and then you can set it for whatever. I would suggest set it for app blue dark right now. I think for the examples, this is what I had set up because it looked the best contrast wise. So yeah, that's going to give you your dark icon theme. So yeah, the dark is the best way to go, so it can sit on a light background. I believe the app bar is going to be yellow, so you want real dark text on there. So we're going to use app blue dark for our color, for our icon theme, and then we're all set for that. Okay. Now, last thing we need to go into for today is going to be our button theme. That's going to be it for today. So if anybody has any questions, I'm going to stop here right now. Okay, so yeah, I'm just looking over some of the comments. I see so Danny had mentioned something to me. Okay, but we're all good. We moved past that issue, and it doesn't look, well, let's see. Good vibes. Okay, for sure. Yeah, like I said, feel free to reach out in the Discord or the comments if you have any issues. Discord is going to be running much later past this series, so definitely join the Discord server if you have any issues. But I just want to kind of bring this to light right before we go into our last part of it, our last part of the episode, just so we're not cramming a bunch of stuff at the end, you know. But yeah, so totally reach out, stay in touch, stay in tune. I'm going to go right back into it. So if you paused the video and you're just now getting back, welcome back. If not, thank you all for sticking around this long so far. So we're just going to finalize here and get everybody going and enjoy the weekend. So we're going to go into our button theme. Okay, so inside of our button theme, we want to, yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. So we want to do, we want to call on our base again. Base dot, and then for this one, we're going to do base dot button theme. As you can see right here, it's our second option. We want to do our base dot button theme dot copy with. Okay. And then everything looks good. And then inside our copy with, we're going to open that up. Okay. So inside our button theme, the first attribute that we want to specify is going to be our color, button color. Button color. That's not it. Okay, button color, colon, space, comma. Okay, and then we just do our next couple ones, get them out the way too, because this is just how I do it. I mean, you can, when you do it, you can do the button color and specify the color and go to the next line, do the next one. This is just how I like to kind of lay out everything that I know is going to be in there first and foremost, and then, go in and fill them out when I need to. Sometimes you can't do that though because of errors and stuff. So work with whatever's best for you. Totally work with whatever's best for you and the best way you can learn. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna go from button color. I'm gonna go down, and I think the next one is text theme. Okay. I don't think I know the next one in this exercise is going to be text theme, colon, space, comma. And then one more that we want is color scheme. Little c, color, capital S, color scheme, colon, comma, or space, comma. Okay, so we got these three. Now for our button color, we want to go into that and we want to, what do we want to do for our button color? I think we have it set for yellow primary. Okay, so for our button color, because that's going to be the first thing that opens on the emulator, we have it set for yellow. You can change the color to whatever it is that you feel that you want your app to look like, but let's just stick with yellow for right now. We're going to do app yellow primary. Okay, that's good. And then our text theme, you're going to come down here. And for our text theme, we're going to do a button text theme. Okay, so that's going to be a capital B. That's what we're going to call on button text theme. Okay, and then we're going to do button text theme, and you can see the option down there underneath the auto select where we're going to do button text theme dot primary. Okay, and then underneath that we're going to go down to our color scheme, and for color scheme we're going to create a color scheme object color. So that means it's going to be a capital C, color scheme with parentheses. Okay, we're going to do color scheme dot light. Oops, I shouldn't add that parentheses. So it's color scheme dot light, then the parentheses. Color scheme dot light, then parentheses, then dot copy with one more time with parentheses. So we got our color scheme is the color scheme object dot light. So remember, we're going to call on that the templates that are already there for us to use. We're just going to alter them a little bit, and we're going to do in the parentheses. We're going to go in there and press enter, and then right here we want to identify primary color, and I think we set that to app. What do we set that to? That was app blue light. It seems okay. App blue light. Okay, and then forgot our comma, because you see it's not gonna auto format. All right, so then we're gonna Control S to save, and it looks like nothing moved because I mean the commas were all good. Comma set everything up. If we didn't have this comma here and we clicked Control Save, that's what's gonna happen. And this isn't even the worst thing. This is actually common to see in Flutter development and Dart programming is when it's just one simple attribute like this. It's okay to just leave it on the same line. You don't have to have it on the next line. So that's something you're going to notice. You're going to say, hey, why isn't the comma right after that? Certain things. But like when we get into building the UI and we create in size boxes and stuff, we only need one attribute for that, which is the height. So this is all we need. We don't really need to have a whole nother line for it. Totally up to you. If you really want to keep the structure going, definitely just add the comma and then Control Save, and it's going to stay with that structure. But like I said, when you later on in the episode, you might see the one line. You're going to see the one line attribute totally common too. When it's just one. This is for when you have multiple. So as you can see here, under base app button theme copy with, you have 3 of them here. So that's why we separate them with a comma to, but if it's just one, like I said, it could stay on the same line. Yeah, I mean, this is it. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You got your configuration, everything ready to go. Honestly, like this is it. We got our hands dirty a little bit with coding for a little bit, but the next episode is going to be much more in-depth coding. We're not going to be configuring anything anymore. Our app is ready to go. We got our color set up. We got our navigation system set up right here. So now when we create our routes, We just need to call on our page from our right here, these named routes. We're just going to be calling on these in our modular router gr dart file. Remember, that's the automatically generated code, the auto-generated code. Do not modify by hand. It says up top. Remember that. If you need to make changes, you make them in your modular router file. But yeah, so we're going to be going over the navigation. We're going to create our methods to navigate from one route to the other. We also went over our app theme, creating the colors, how our colors are going to be laid out in the app. We designated our primary colors. We designated what the accent color is going to be. The text theme colors, primary icon theme. Yeah, we probably don't need this now that I mention it, but we're just gonna keep these down here to add a little bit more customization to our app. So yeah, and then we went over the text theme as well, much more simple as we can remember. So, maybe start with this if you want to, go over and review your episode this time. This is a good one to remember for sure. It's a little bit complex. Not too hard to remember though, but just remember what's pointing to what. It might help if you just like I said, write it out and then delete it and then write it out again as much as you can remember, and then just refer to this code. Just to kind of if you can't remember something, check it out, memorize it, and then go back and write it from the best you can from memory. And until you can just write it out like you know what you're doing. And the more you do this and you memorize this code, the more you're gonna be able to identify problems as you go in the future. So practice makes perfect. It's a old saying, but it's really true, especially in programming. So definitely keep practicing, keep memorizing, keep rewriting your codes, and keep writing your code. I'm sorry, I don't like plural, but yeah, definitely keep practicing, and tune in next time. Like I said, next episode we're going to be covering more about. We're going to go into the login page, and we're going to create the login UI completely. The next episode is just going to be just one class. We're not going to be doing anything else, no configuring, no other classes, just strictly login. So be ready to program, sit down and get some stuff, done when we sit down next week. But other than that, thank you. I appreciate everybody for coming back, for everybody tuning in for the first time, as well as anybody that's just watching in the future. Hey, this is Carlos from the past. Just want to say hi and thank you again, and definitely tune in next time and say farewell. And Danny and Mohammed, if you guys want to say bye to everybody, I'm sure they would love to see y'all.
Thank you, Carlos. That was an amazing coding walkthrough. I learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone who tuned in today did as well. So as Carlos said earlier and in the previous episode 1, continue engaging in our Discord server. Ask our questions, errors, and we will be there to help you throughout next week. Help us accomplish to build a community where we can support one another, and help us market the series and let your friends know of this opportunity. See everyone in the next episode. And Danny, any closing remarks?
Yeah, just on the note of building out an amazing community, don't forget that the Developer Student Club application process is now open for those who are interested in starting a club at their local their local university or college. So please use the link, which is on the bottom lower third. Would really love to have you join the Developer Student Club community. And finally, before I let all of y'all go, let's give a warm round of applause for Carlos and Muhammad in the chat. We wouldn't be able to put on amazing events like this if it was not for their amazing support. So let's make sure to thank them. And with that, y'all get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you next weekend for episode 3.
Take care.
Привет. Hello. Servus.
I'm in inspired that there's so many people working to accomplish the same goal of creating a connected future.
By having students lead clubs on campus directly supported by Google developers, that's the best way to reach out to students.
It's really inspirational always to hear about members of the community who echo your values and echo your beliefs.
I've been listening more than I've been speaking, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing because I'm just getting all these ideas.
Google, it needs to reach a wider audience and be more relatable as a company, and I think Google is one of the brands that is very good at doing that.